Pardon the microphone. I hope it sounds okay. It's a new mic. This anime is as if you took the musical scenes from Equestria Girls, but made everyone different animals instead of just ponies. You put that in Japan, and then you threw in some Johnny Quest for spice. It's a weird combination, but I think it makes a good combination of the show. I usually have a joke here, don't I? Wait, I got it. How does an archaeologist prove they found something? They show by rock. Please come back.
Finding this anime for me was kind of an interesting story. YouTube recommended a video where these chibi animal anime people were performing a song, and the song was quite good. And I thought it was a cool show to watch if I ever got the chance, and it was called Show by Rock. So I kept it in mind, but then I kind of forgot about it. And then later, when Shannon recommended I do a show I haven't watched before in reverse, I went to an alphabetical anime list, scrolled up and down really fast, and pointed to the screen with my eyes closed. And lo and behold, I pointed to Show by Rock. The universe was guiding me to this anime, and I would answer the call. This series apparently was a game at first, a mobile game. It was released back in 2013 for iOS and 2014 for Android. It's supposed to be released by Squeenix now, but I can't seem to find it on the Google Play Store. There's lots of ones like it, but I guess there's not Show by Rock here. Maybe it's in Japan only, who knows. The show is a really good overall experience. It was colorful, it was musical, it was fun. I love the characters. And while I have a few gripes about the show, it is an experience that I definitely would recommend you watching when you have the chance. It is at this point at the editing process I remember Shannon's original instruction of writing a experience of your viewing in reverse, not a review of the show. And guess what I did? Ha ha ha! So I'm recording it again for the 5th time with no script so I can correct that slight error in my reading. I'm still going to use parts of the original review because I really don't have time to re-record it, but at the very least, this will be a little better. I started with a dark forest or giant dark cloud, capturing a bunch of musicians of various color and J-poppy style and animal traits. All the world seemed lost before what looked like Elvis strums a powerful chord and distracts the dark force enough for the main character, whose name is Xian, or basically Twilight in this case, to almost go home before she returns with a musical blast of power and angel wings and destroys the evil. Tearful goodbyes after our last concert, and Xian returns to what seems to be her world and a school with new courage and joins the musical club she wants to join at the beginning of the game. Okay, I'm interested. The good guys have to defeat what looks like a giant moth monster, which turns out to be a friend/rival band throughout the show, who seems remorseful about being jerks to the main characters and their friends. And it all takes place at a giant concert and the crescendo of the show called the Grateful Rock Festival, named after the Elvis figure who is apparently called the Grateful King. Reference? These two ending episodes were an interesting starting point because it really kind of actually didn't really feel like a big moment. Usually end battles are a little more dramatic than this, but I guess it's less about the dramatic battles and more about the feeling of heart and friendship, which is fair enough. And apparently Xian knows who rescued her at the end, this Grateful King guy. So I guess she's heard him before, seen him before, or talked to him? We see the Dark Force, who is apparently named Dagger, is able to manipulate the fears and doubts of certain people. For example, Choo Choo is getting jealous of the fame that the entire group of Plasmagica, which is the main band that they're in, is getting, and specifically how much fame Xian is getting. Choo Choo initially joined the band to have fame overall, and then step away from the band as a stepping stone, as she says, in order to have a solo career. She tries to quit the band once the despair and fear get to her, and briefly meeting with Dagger in his headquarters, which is a very, very tall tower in the middle of a dark area of the city. That's just kind of sus. But as she's about to leave, Xian and the rest of the band, who's Rethari the bassist and Moa the drummer, play the song they wrote together and bring Choo Choo back to her senses. She says she's sorry that she thought of so selfishly of herself, and that friendship is more important than just fame. This apparently leads to the guitar, who's called Barry, short for Strawberry Heart, to stop talking. Apparently the guitar talks. Sure, why not? Also, that conflict was kind of fast. You'd think after all that build-up of the later half of the show where Choo Choo wants to quit and is ruminating on the whole thing, it's over in like 2 minutes. That's a very short conflict. Okay, you'd think that would take a little longer. The main band Plasmagica is having their Battle of the Bands grand performance against Kriti Krista, their main rival band of the show, apparently. You like Kids Bop? Well, here you go. Who is employed and under the control of Dagger. Leave it up to the big evil guy to control a bunch of colorful middle schoolers, because
Middle schoolers are truly an evil creature.
the band Plasmagica prepares for this and discusses different ways as how they can improve their performance to enhance fan appeal. However, the girls realize that from a previous beach trip that happened, The most important thing is to be together and have fun. This literally is Equestria Girls. Plasmagica actually wins the performance against Pretty Krista this time, and this is where Choo Choo starts developing the feelings of jealousy that we see later on. Also, the leader of Pretty Krista seems to be really attached to Xian and also at the same time bullying her. I'm not sure why the trolling happened, it just seems really out of the blue. And after Pretty Krista loses the match, Dagger goes full dark monster and dark tentacle web thing and turns the band Pretty Krista into the moth monster that we see at episode 12. Somehow he can just do that. Plasmagica realizes that they can't join the Grateful Rock Festival until they've had a live performance, which apparently Shingan Crimsonzu, their frenemy band in the same label, has already done so, apparently. Which is where it is suggested by the president, Egg, of their musical label that they have a battle of the bands against Pretty Krista. Meanwhile, in the Shingan Crimsonzu band, Ion, their dramatic guitarist, decides to quit the band too out of fear and manipulation from Dagger. Basically episode 9 except dealing with Shingan Crimsonzu instead of the Plasmagica girls. But the drummer literally beats the sense back into Ion before they play the song, so boys being boys. And again, this episode just seems to have a really short resolution. Like, they have a decently long build-up with the character leaving the band and hiding on a rooftop for some reason, but then they just kind of resolve it in the same way. What's the point of conflict if you resolve it in like 2 seconds? There's not even conflict, it's just a slight headache. Also, you see these musical crystals come out of someone's chest throughout the show. Apparently, it's what's called a Melodician stone. It's your musical talent / soul, and it can get corrupted by darkness, which is when it turns red and works for Dagger, but then friendship and song restore it back to the color it was, then they become pure again. So good symbolism. The soul henchman, it looks like, of Dagger, the tiki head guy, spreads rumors about amazing performances held in what is called Yokai Street, basically just think Yokai Watch, but as like a subsection of a city. One person from a band, this one, asked Plasmagica to help find her bandmate who went missing. And while I know this episode is important because the Shingan boys discovered that they can defeat dark monsters even though they think they couldn't, I guess. And yes, it is important that they found the other band member that was hidden in a tree, I think. I was more concerned about the city. I wanted to see more of Yokai Town. This place artistically is so much cooler than it should be. This place looks artistically amazing, and I want to see the lore that could possibly go into a Yokai Town. Yes, I get Midi-City is cool and that the soundscape is nice and neon, but come on, a place of spirits and ghosts? Please, show me more of that. The next 2 episodes were what I would like to call Xian's big reveal, in which case the other band members and the rocking label find out that she's not from their world and is in fact from the human world, and that she has to go back one day, which of course hurts many of their feelings, which of course hurts the band's feelings, and they have to go on a beach trip in order to come to terms with that. But on the same beach trip, the pink drummer reveals that she's an alien by literally teleporting a rocket ship from orbit down to water level, which somehow doesn't cause a crater. And that doesn't come across as troubling or weird because by then they were just cool with Xian eventually leaving, and that was more important. I mean, yes, it is implied that there has been many incidents where they've been suspicious of Xian, like how she didn't know about a lot of things in Midi-City that she should have, or really of the whole world of sound as a whole, but it really comes to a head here when they really should have figured it out a long time ago, judging by how the characters acted. They don't seem very smart, and seriously, she's an alien! How is that not more important than the fact that your friend might leave one day? Aliens! And even the episode that's supposed to get us a good look at the Surezuret band, that one, even that episode we're supposed to see like behind the scenes as to why they're there and what they're doing, doesn't come across as anything special. They're from the Far East and want to spread their music, and that's their sacred mission. Okay, I get that, but that's it? You're a powerful band, and the singer of said band is supposed to be some important figure, but it doesn't come across as anything but just a mystique kind of thing. How the girls of Plasmagica are supposed to get inspiration from this band, even though their style is really not that unique, is beyond me. But the girls do try to at least dress up in more special ways, fail, and then decide to write a new song instead, which becomes a song for the rest of the show. So I guess this episode does provide an important point there. Although, I will admit, it's funny to see Retori fangirl over this band. It's just adorable seeing this serious bassist get flustered in certain situations, and especially when Xian is acting cute, and it's more than implied that Retori has a crush on her. Plasmagica's first battle of the bands against Pretty Krista results in Plasmagica losing, but in this case it's a good thing for the series, and I can see why they put it early on. It shows that Xian, still being new to the world, is a helpful asset to the band and to the friendship as a whole, and also shows that they have a lot more work to do in changing from a 3 to a 4-person band. and that Pretty Krista, despite being the rival band employed by Dagger, isn't really as big of a headache as I thought. It's implied that they're the big rivals that they have to face, but you only see them like 2 or 3 times in the show, 2 of them being band battles, 1 win and 1 loss, and the other one showing the main singer, Pretty Krista, being really obsessed with Xian and trolling her throughout the show, and really want to be better than Xian for some reason. It seems like a dark plot, but it really doesn't come across as anything but a occasional inconvenience or plot point. Also, what is with those lyrics? We will perform in a cute way and will make your heart race. That is not cute, that is desperate. Stop it. It also shows that Pretty Krista is young, even by band standards. The members seem more interested in eating snacks and just hanging out versus playing music, although they're definitely good at that. It seems to be just a contractual obligation to them, and it shows that they have a certain amount of fear for Dagger as well. Also, Moa's contact is this pink floating cotton candy ship thing, and Reto rejoined Plasmagica in efforts to make friends just as much as play music, and she's trying on the friends part at this point, but she does get a little better later. It's not really brought up much in the show, honestly. I mean, she does make good friends, so friendship is magic. Xian gets accepted into the main record label called Banded Rocking Records. Xian is still getting used to MIDI City and Sound World at this point. Xian gets to move into the Banded Rocking Records dormitory, which is homely to say the least, and officially talks to Strawberry Heart, or Barry as she calls him, and is told she can't return until she defeats the darkness of Sound World. She wants to get back by Golden Week though, gotta join that music club after all. Also, the Shingon band has a chance to open for Tricronica, their sort of rival band, or at least rival to the drummer of Shingon. They set up the initial beef between him and the Tricronica main guy. It's just a weird point of drama that doesn't really go anywhere in the show. I mean, I hope they evolve on this in later seasons, but as of right now, it just seems like an extra plot point that doesn't add anything to the show. But considering how long she spends in Sound World, I'm pretty sure you've missed a whole month by then, so maybe just time travel back at the beginning. And speaking of beginning, this episode threw me for a loop, because episode 1, if I watched this first, I would have skipped this whole show. No, seriously. The first episode is Xian going to the musical club / band room, wanting to join and being too scared to, and after embarrassing herself in front of everyone by singing the intro song, mostly to herself, I guess on air guitar, she's too embarrassed to hang around and goes home to play games on her mobile phone. The intro here is actually kind of cool, knowing it's backwards. If you watch this first, all you'd see was Xian in, general school shots and an empty band behind her, but I like the framing here. It's where the band members will be in later intros, but it's setting up the framing of it now. But had I watched this before, I would have thought it was just a regular anime about a girl joining a band and them getting better, and that's been done before, so I'm really glad I watched this last, because it's kind of boring until she gets pulled into the game world, which apparently that's what the whole Sound World of MIDI City is. It was a mobile game that she wins Strawberry Heart in as an in-game item, hence why she has it in the show. She gets pulled in by Dagger. It's never explained, by the way. He can just do these things and it's just established that he's just that powerful. Why can't he kill everyone? Of course, that'd be too easy, right? But as Xian flies into the world, the Grateful King intercepts her with the Strawberry Heart item and sends her flying away from Dagger's giant tower in darkness. And then she meets the other band people that she becomes friends with and later defeats Dagger with. This was definitely an interesting experience. I would recommend you try it at least once or twice to a show you haven't seen before, or maybe a manga you haven't read before. It gives you an interesting perspective as to the writing out of a show and what goes into that, and also how pacing is very much appreciated going from start to finish as a very human thing, but it can be refreshing to see something from a backwards angle. It's cool, it's a good show, easily one of the most interesting shows I've watched in a long time, backwards or forwards. And they have more seasons, apparently, so I'm gonna watch at least the second season, and I think there's like a movie or something afterwards. So anyway, thank you for watching. I rattled on long enough. And fun fact, I had a character in a chibi style I was gonna use for this video, and I didn't have time to put it in, but there's the idea. I wonder if I can make a plushie out of that. Hello and welcome back to Lamps Lights. You need lamps and you need lights, and we got both right here. Are you looking for illumination in your life? Well, that's an animation studio founded in 2007. I don't know why you'd be looking for that here. Anyway, all of our lights today are about aesthetic. They may not be for brightness, but they're gonna make your room look and feel good. Just like this first one right here. Look at what we got. We got a nice light up Japanese looking tree. Yeah, it's taller than most lamps, taller than most lights you got in your house, but it looks beautiful. You can bring nature inside. You don't gotta worry about it dying on like a regular potted plant. You gotta keep watering that thing. This thing never gonna die. You plug it in, beautiful for life. Why am I not Boston accent all of a sudden? No, you can't change color on it, and no, it's not really any brightness setting. But this, I want this. I legit want this in my room, just forever lit up, because it's just nice. It's nice scenery in your own house. Usually you can't say lamps are good scenery, but in this case, a huge exception. Next we have the LED Nightlight Cube. This one you can actually change color and brightness settings on. It has a remote and everything, so you can still do all that. It's a nice soft glow, so again, you're not gonna get that much light out of this, but there's like different size options as well. There's like huge cube versions too. It's a bit pricey, albeit, but at the same time, that's a cool minimalist futuristic look that I would totally dig in the corner of my house. And the last thing is a cool wolf lamp. You wanna look awesome in front of your friends, you throw this thing on the table and be like, yo, I'm as cool as that wolf over there, and wolves are cool, and I should know. I mean, yes, it's basically a plastic cutout on top of a base, but you can either do the plug-in or you can actually just have batteries in there, just three AAA batteries. That's actually kind of surprising for a lamp, but I guess that wouldn't last very long, huh? So get yourself a wolf lamp today, and maybe not howl inside too much, because then people are gonna think you're kind of weird, but weird is good, so you do you. Anyway, that's all for the lamps for today. Thank you for your time, and go and drink a lot of coffee, because we're all really tired. I'm gonna do that right now. I know it's 2 a.m. Doesn't matter, I'm drinking coffee anyway. Good night!